Welcome to Blonde Cards and Crafts. Let's make something together. Hello, today we're going to make this C-fold card, and it's a reverse C-fold card. So we're going to need a piece of card for our base, and it measures 10 by 7. And then we're going to score this. Now we need to score it at 2.5, then at 5, and this is going to give us our score lines for our card base. So now we're going to need to fold these, and you need to fold them in a mountain and a valley. So I have a mountain here and then a valley here, and our folded pieces are going to be on the right hand side. Normally when we do a Z-fold card they would be on the left hand side, but this time it's going to be on the right hand side, so maybe this is a better card for the lefties, I don't know. Anyway, that's how our card is basically going to work. Now we have all our pieces that we're going to use for on the card. So we need 2 mats for our card, one for the back and one for the front, and this one measures 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. We're going to need 1 piece of patterned paper to go on one of those mats, and then 1 piece of white cardstock. So my patterned piece of paper measures 4.5 by 6.5, and this piece of white cardstock will measure the same, 4.5 by 6.5. So this will go on the back for our sentiment. Then we need 2 lots for our panels. So we need 2 mats, and these mats measure 2.25 by 6 3/4. We need 2 of those. And then our patterned paper, 2 of those, and they measure 2 by 6.5. So we're also going to need a piece of cardstock for the Z fold across the bottom of our card, and I have a piece here. This piece measures 10 by 1.5, and I have scored it at 2.5 and 5. Then I have some paper mats on that, some of the patterned paper. Now you can do this as all one strip. I have just put a piece here, and a piece on the left hand side, but what I would recommend you do is cut one long strip. I've also decorated the back because I want to be able to see it from the other side, but you really don't need to do that. Next we're going to put some mats and layers on the back part of our card. I have this strip here, and it measures 4.5 by 1, that's the green mat, and then the paper on top of that measures 4.5 by 3/4 of an inch. And this will go along the back of our white piece of cardstock. I've also used a die from my stash to die cut out this beautiful circle with the sentiment dream. You can see it here on the page that it came on that I printed up. And that one there in the rectangle, I have fussy cut around the heart shape there, and that I'll put on the front of the card. And I have fussy cut out the word dream from the 3rd little panel there, and that I'm going to put on the back of our card. So now I'm going to speed everything up, and we're going to put our card together. I'm using the Cosmic Shimmer glue here, and I love using a liquid adhesive because it gives me a little bit of wiggle room. It allows me to make sure that my borders all around are even. So now we'll do the 2 side panels. We'll glue those down onto our green mats, and then we can put them on the card. Okay, so I have the little strip, and this is going to go on the back of the card. And I've just put it down there with there's about 1/8 of an inch of a gap there from the bottom. Where I've cut my green cardstock, my blade needs to be replaced, and I find sometimes I get a fussy edge, So I have an emery board in my staff that I just use on paper, and I use that file or that emery board to just take off the little fuzzies around my cardstock. So I have the fussy cut dream sentiment. I've stuck that down. I've also cut out some of the little flowers and circles and all the little things that has on the imagery that we've got. I'm going to put 2 little hearts there above the D in dream. Lovely. I'm also going to stamp on that follow your, so it has follow your dream on the back, but I'll do that later. Now I've moved on to the front of the card, and we're going to put our 2 smaller panels down onto our card base, and then we'll put the larger panel down. And make sure when you're putting these panels down, if you're using patterned paper, that they're all going in the same direction. Sometimes you can forget to do that and end up with things pointing up and things pointing down. So just be aware of that when you're putting that down. So now I have the small Z part of our Z fold card, and I'm going to adhere that down to our card as well. I want to make sure that that's going to sit on my card properly before I actually stick it down. And I've just realized that I want to be able to see some pattern paper on the other side of the Z fold. Now you don't have to do this. I did because I had some scraps of paper. So now when you look at it from the back part of the card, you can actually see patterned paper down there. So I'm going to stick this down, and it goes right to the edge. And I'm going to open the card and make sure the whole thing will fold properly and sit properly when it's open. Again, I'm using my liquid adhesive for this part. I find the Cosmic Shimmer glue, it grasps the card really quickly, and it's a really strong adhesive. I have my 2 main sentiments here for the front of the card, and I want to make sure that the heart one that I have fussy cut out, that's going to sit over the round circular piece. So I want to marry the 2 of those up. I want it so that when the card is closed, it looks like all 1 sentiment, but then when it's opened, the 2 can be read individually. So I've put some 3M foam tape on the back of my main dream. And now I'm just having a look to see where this heart-shaped piece needs to be on the Z fold. I'm going to make sure that I only put liquid adhesive to the right hand side of the heart. So more or less from the middle of the heart and on the right hand side. Lovely. And now when you close down, that dream sits over the bigger one. So with all the little pieces that I have fussy cut out, I have 3 square sentiment pieces. You can see them here, but I want them to look as if they're floating on the card so that they're not stuck down. So I'm going to use some clear acetate to do that. These 2, the Wish, Love, Dream and the little flower, I'm going to sandwich those together, and in between it will be my little strip of acetate. And this piece of acetate is about 1/4 of an inch wide and about 2 inches long, and I'll cut it down to the length that I need it to be. My pieces of acetate weren't any longer than about 1.5 inches. So I'm using some double-sided tape, and I'm putting it on both of my sentiment pieces, and then I'm going to sandwich them together with the acetate in between. I'm then going to put another little piece of my double-sided tape onto the acetate towards the bottom. You can see there I have it on there at the bottom. I'm going to put it behind the Z fold part and then stick it in, and I'm going to make sure that I have it placed nicely in the card so it's not sticking out too much. Now I have this other little square sentiment, and again I'm going to stick it onto a piece of acetate, but I don't want to be able to see the acetate on the back of that. So I've taken one of the little images of a little flower, and I have stuck that onto the back. I want to be able to see this one from the side, so I have lined it up with the front one so that the two of them sit behind each other nicely when the card is closed. So there we go, that's our card. I've just taken some of my fussy cut images and a strip of the paper and embellished an envelope. Here's some images of the card that we've made today. If you've enjoyed the tutorial, I'd love for you to click on the like button, and if you're not a subscriber, you might consider clicking on the subscribe button down below, as well as hitting the notification bell. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, and if you post your cards, please make sure and tag me. Finally, I'd like to encourage you to go over to the Hell's Couple Ditch page on Facebook, Instagram and Etsy. Until next time, thanks for watching and bye bye.